In Luke today, Jesus says to his disciples, the things that you have depended upon are going to fall apart. The temple, the thing that symbolized stability, safety, even the presence of God will fall down. That means that Jesus is also saying to us, the things that you have depended upon are eventually going to fall apart. Or perhaps some of the things you've depended on have already fallen apart. Thinking back over the last year, some of us have lost friends. Some of us have lost relatives, family, people we love. Some of us have lost parts of our health that we depend upon to get up and live our lives. Some of us might be feeling like we're losing the church that used to be. We knew what the institutional church was, and we knew we could rely upon it being there, and some of us have questions about what's going to happen. What's going to happen to St. Andrews? What's going to happen to the Episcopal Church? Some of us are wondering about our society and our democratic process. Some of the norms that have been broken down, the collapse of empathy, things that used to work for a lot of people don't seem like they're working anymore. There's a sense of loss there. So Jesus is right. Things are falling apart, and that makes me scared, and it's painful when we lose these things. Our dominant cultures usually flee pain, flee loss, and teach us to avoid it at all costs, if we can just keep moving. But this church community tries to be an alternative to that, tries to be somewhere where we say we don't have to run away from these things. It is almost impossible to face them as individuals, but when we come together, we might find the strength to face and hold the losses that we are experiencing with the help of God. And so we bring our anger, we bring our tears, we bring our grief, we bring our questions to the universe, questions to God of how could you let this happen? And in some circles, you'll hear that those are signs of unfaithfulness. Doubt, questioning God. That means you don't have faith. But in our community, we believe that just is part of being human, part of being a human being. And maybe it's actually a sign of a deeper faith, that only when you have real trust in a relationship can you fight, can you be honest. And so I want to remind us that if we have questions, if we have doubt, if we have rage, if we have lament to offer to God, that's a sign of deep faithfulness to this covenant that we have with God. Jesus himself wept 3 times in the Gospels. He wept for himself when he was going to have to do something very hard. He wept for a friend when one of his friends died. And he wept for his community. He wept over Jerusalem when his community was falling short of what he believed it was supposed to be. So if Jesus can weep, surely that gives us permission to cry out to God for healing as well. One of my favorite definitions of prayer is this: prayer is taking a long, loving look at what is real. Prayer is taking a long, loving look at what is real. As I mentioned at the beginning of our service, we are coming to the end of our liturgical year. Next Sunday will be Christ the King Sunday, and then the Sunday after that, first one in December, will be the beginning of Advent, where we start over. We prepare for the birth of Jesus and rehearsing this story again. And I felt this invitation to, as we end this year, pause and give our whole community a chance to take stock of what has happened this year. The ups, but also the downs, of what has been lost. In the gospel, Jesus tells us things fall apart. But if you read the whole gospel, the one thing he says that will remain is his presence with us. Not any institution, not any idea, not any other idol. Everything else will fall away, but his promise is that he, the human one, walks with us through all of this. And so we're going to spend a little bit of time right now creating space for a healing prayer and ritual. And here's how this will work. In a moment, I'll pause and I'll go sit. And Leanne's just going to play a little bit of instrumental music for us. And this is simply a time for you to prayerfully sit with this year. Maybe take stock of what's happened this year. Particularly, are there things that have fallen apart? Are there things that you or we have lost? Are there places where we need healing? And we want to ask God for healing, for us or for our communities. So I'll give us a little bit of time just to do that in our pews. And then I'll come up here and offer on behalf of the church an anointing, a healing anointing and prayer. This is completely optional. If you want to stay in your pew this entire time, that's totally fine. But if you'd like to come up, we don't have to go front to back. Just whenever you feel led, you come up here. I'll have some healing oil, and when you come up, I'll ask you if there's anything particular you'd like to be prayed for. If not, it could just be general prayer for healing. That's okay. But after that, I will dip my finger in the oil. I'll anoint your head. I'll put my hand on your shoulder and give you a brief prayer for healing. Again, totally optional, but I'll just be up here for a few minutes, and you're welcome to come up and receive prayer if needed. Healing doesn't just happen in our minds when we think about it. The Episcopal Church, we do a lot of things with our bodies because our whole bodies need to ask for help, right? And so these movements are ways we can open ourselves perhaps to the movement of God. As we kneel in our pews, as we come up for Eucharist, and we feel the healing oil upon us. So I'll pause. We'll do a little bit of time together here, 3 or 4 minutes, then I'll come down and offer an opportunity to be prayed for. There are almost no places in our life where we're not rushed, where we're not being forced to move past it. And this is 10 minutes, which is kind of scary, where we don't have to do anything else except for just to sit and take care of ourselves, okay? Which might be especially hard for this community who does a lot. So this is a time where this is for us, right? Because we deserve to have space for healing, right? So let's enter into a time of prayer together.